Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. I have the writer and director of a new movies right now. It's streaming on Amazon Prime as well as Reels, which I just found out about.
Reveal. Reveal is called.
Reveal, okay?
How
Reveal. I have Mr. Brian Vadim. Brian, how's it going, my friend?
you doing? How you doing?
Good, good, good. And you got a new movie out, The Head.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about The Head.
The Hid, well, it has a funny story because I was on set for one of the Discovery shows. I'm an actor on for Discovery ID, and I was on a set last summer. And this is all true how this happened. This is how weird things are. And it was in a big house, and it was a horrific crime about something. And where it's hot, there's no air conditioning. I'm in a room upstairs all day, and it was about the mother's supposed to walk in and find her, children or something, and it's horrific. So she has to scream. So we're upstairs, and this blood curdling scream is downstairs. I didn't, we don't know anything about the story. We just hear this thing. I mean, it was so real. It gave me such a strange feeling inside. And we're all sitting there, and we're all the other actors with me, and we're just like, oh my God. I mean, we better be careful because the windows are open. It's in a neighborhood. Someone's going to call the police for sure. I mean, it was so real. She was so great and was so blood curdling. The story just hit me in my face. Right away, the whole idea of the mother, freaked out about their child. It just came, and I wrote it in 3 hours while I was sitting there. And then, yeah, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be such a great story. And then the actors that were there, I said, and I was writing it, the whole idea of this happens, it's covered up. And then, these other actors who's bring, they're like co-eds, they're going to investigate all this stuff, and then I thought they would be in it. And then they just wouldn't respond, and this, how people are. So I was just like, okay. And I just slowly came together. Now it does emulate a real story out where I live, kind of things that really did happen in this town. So I was like, well, that's how it like came to be, because it turned into, I was like, I always wanted to do this kind of thing. And then when that moment happened, it put that image, and it just like, and it was real quick. And I had the story, and I threw a casting notice out in backstage, and I knew who I wanted, and I went after them, and they blew me away, the talent that I was able to get, and we shot it, and it was funny because we shot the opening scene, which is the most cinematic part of the movie. The movie is like different types. It starts out like a real movie, and then it takes place in '68, and then it's today, and then it's an investigation team, and they go, and it's more like a found footage, and they're going to do their own documentary. So they bring their C-100s and they throw them in this cabin. The audience knows they're there. You see them. It's like different perspectives. I wanted to touch on everything. I didn't want just another found footage film, and I wanted to have all aspects. And and the one character is a YouTuber, so she does a lot of holds a handheld camera, so that's all in there. The whole idea was to be as real as possible. I wanted to stay true to it. The audio, the cameras, the way they looked, the way it sounds, it would be, I'm one of these old school guys. I really love authentic, real. Like Night of the Living Dead is like I'm a big fan of, and it's like you can hear the room, you can hear the room mic. You can, it's like I'm not a fan of this high produced stuff. I'm just not. Like I remember I was watching a movie the other day, and they're walking in the woods, and they're having a conversation. And it's like you're in a studio. That's what it sounded like. I mean, it was like I don't hear the branches breaking under. I mean, it was like, or they go overboard and they add it in later, the Foley, and it's just like, I'm sorry. you can't hear. That doesn't happen in the world. So I wanted to keep it authentic, and I shot it like a play because I'm into live theater. That's really where I come from, and I like to capture the reactions between the actors. So I usually always have at least two cameras, if not three, rolling. And it's difficult, and they break all the rules that way because you're not supposed to do that. But I don't care because I really don't know what I'm doing. I've only been doing this a few years. So it's like, I'm just going to do it this way. I like to shoot like a play. I love Dark Shadows, Masterpiece Theater, the soap opera set where there's three cameras and they're all rolling and everybody's acting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you capture more of a authenticity, between the actors. Plus, it's quick. I mean, I don't have the budget to pay these guys, to shoot this for 6 months. I can't do it. I mean, this was shot, and I only shoot for 3 hours at a clip. I tend to be able to get a higher grade talent because they don't go, oh, geez, I really don't want to do this for 12 hours, and you pay them, a decent, 3-hour rate, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that, for 3 hours and I'm out.
Yeah.
So it works. So it's like I was together with them 5 times, 3-hour shots, and that's the whole movie, and it just was the way it worked, and it really worked, and it's different, it's shot differently, and not everyone's gonna get it. You know how the public is. It's already on IMDb, and you can see the 1 stars coming out, and it's like really. I mean, the performances were so great. I mean, there weren't more than 1 star. I'm sorry.
Well, I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to horror, since the beginning of time, horror, but at one time, horror was, you would have great actors and actresses in horror, and they would play these awesome performances. And then we hit the 80s, which was my generation, where they would get strippers off the street and bums off the street to come in, and just horrible, acting was not important. Yeah. Then we shifted over into the 90s. We started getting a screen where acting is important. But now in the 2020s, acting is not. I feel like acting, especially in indie horror movies, are not important. And I feel like as someone who sits back and watches, I can notice it. Now, do you think having trained actors and actresses in a horror movie in 2023 is important?
Well, it depends. I think because what's happened, that's why I did not list it as a horror. I figured if I list it as a horror, I'm going to get slammed because there's no blood and guts. It's not Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to make it thriller suspense. You have a kinder audience. It's more of a campfire story because if you say horror, they're expecting what they're getting in today's horror. It's like, it's very cheap. You go rent a cabin or you go run around in the woods, and you have some ridiculous somebody chasing somebody and they put a mask on, or they try to break into your house. That's 90% of the horror out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the intruder, it's the monster in the woods, and it doesn't matter. The acting doesn't matter for that. It's Evil Dead, which is one of my favorites. And it's like it just has to be a creepy story. It's story. That's what people seem to, I think, forget. But that genre of horror is that people don't mind, it's like, I think they want to just turn on and see the same old, running in the woods away from the guy in the mask. I don't know. I'm in the story first. Story and performance is what I'm about. That's why I like to shoot as a play. And if I'm going to shoot as a play and they're going to be in the room, the conversation, the story has to be done right, and the performance has to be done right, or you're done in 30 seconds. Now, maybe you don't need to have that if you're running around in the woods. Maybe that's why I don't know. And plus, it's cheap. You don't have to pay people, a big rate to come out and run around in the woods and scream. I don't know. I don't want to do things like that. I try to be, I like to have a purpose. I like to have an underlying theme, what I'm trying to get across in each of my crazy narratives. And I just figure it's if I can get one person out of 100 to go, man, I really like what you're doing. Great.
Mhm.
And if I'm going to get a bunch of, oh, it isn't this or isn't that, well, I'm not for you. That's just the way it is. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, like I said, the business is over, so it's like you don't have to worry about having it.
Yeah, because
trying
I've
to
seen movies with horrible storylines and not great production, but the chemistry between the actors and actresses actually made it a better movie.
Oh my gosh. I mean, plus the story. I mean, Paranormal Activity. I mean,
Hmm.
when I saw that movie, the first one in the theater, I was so angry at myself when I came out that I didn't do that. It was one of those things like, oh man, of course, of course. Why didn't you think of that?
Yeah.
you know, so it's like, I don't, I don't, I don't care. I think people waste up too much time spending a ton of money on equipment, spending a ton of money on editing and color grading and beautiful titles and things are flying all over the screen and you have to do this and then they take months and months and months and months to get their project out and then you put it on and it might look beautiful
Hmm.
but there's no story.
It's no story.
No story. So it's like I'd rather watch something that somebody shot on a camcorder like Paranormal Activity.
Yep.
You think it's like there you go, and it's few and far between. Or like Horror in the High Desert is another found footage film. Is one of the best I've ever seen in my life.
Hmm.
The original Hell House LLC, which I'm really lucky because one of the actors in the HID is coming out of in the Hell House 4 on Shudder this month. So, but I mean, those movies that were done, wow, it's like that was intense, and it didn't cost them anything, so it's like,
They worked
yeah,
with, yeah.
yeah. So it's like I think people lose sight. They think, oh, well, you have to have this kind of camera, you have to have this kind of look, you have to have this kind of sound, you have to have this everything, blah 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 blah. And it's like, especially when the strike happened, I was like, I'm telling you, this is going to change. Everything is changing. Streaming is changing. They're eating content. They want it right now. And I
Hmm.
was like, I had a distributor that approached me and pretty big deal. And they gave me this whole thing and this spiel and, oh, we're going to, put you through festivals and we might have, we want to take a look at it because we might need you to reshoot things if we want it to be Netflix ready. We want it to be world premiere ready. And this, it might not release until next year. And I'm thinking next year it could be over.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, no thanks. And they kept hounding me. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, wow, see something has changed. Something has changed out there because people were like this. We want it. We want it. I'm like, you don't even, but they wanted me to do the same routine. It's like, oh, the string of festivals and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I want it out right now. And I was ready for it. The movie was done. It was perfect timing. And it went live last Thursday. And, I'm sitting on it, and I got things right behind it, so you're trying to make those um, relationships with these companies. I know I know some people do have a relationship like with Tubi, directly. I'm not anywhere near that.
Working on
But
it.
I'm just gonna keep pumping out content. My point is, it's got to be decent production, and it's got to be a great story, and great performance, and quickly, good content quickly. That's like my new motto. It's like it doesn't have to be, you don't have to go spending months trying to get the right green. you know.
Now, now you actually brought us on something interesting about film festival route. Do you think that's important, really important, in the year 2023 in order to get your movie distributed or recognized?
What was the question?
To go the whole long, drawn out film
Oh
festival route?
no, no, no. I think that's a mistake. Nothing against festivals, Sustainable Life. One that they asked me. I never did anything. They asked me, and I did it. It was TIFF in Europe, and it was a pretty big deal. But they like that kind of weird, quirky stuff. That's a black and white film. That's my first one. But no, not now. I think that's. I don't want to say. I don't want to speak ill of it. I mean, I think if you do it great. I'm just saying right now something a switch switched. And I think that we're finding out with the strike kind of threw gasoline on it to let everybody look and, hey, this is what's happening. This is what's going to happen. This is the future. And I think that's what happened. I think it's something that it's got to be now. And I think if you do the festival route, and it's time, it's time. And it's like, I understand that, yeah, but oh, what about cans? And okay, yeah, but you know what it costs to do those things? I mean, that's not my level at all.
Yeah.
I can't do that. So I got my focus thing flying back and forth. But no, so I think last year maybe, but I think right now is a different is right now. I think you have to get your things out right now. I really think YouTube is the future. YouTube is the next, and I don't mind. I mean, I can't monetize my, channel because I'm like 1,000 subscribers away. But that's really that's the future. I mean, and that would be great to have that kind of control and release your stuff and take it back down and put it back up and this and that and the other thing, and you don't have to worry about waiting for it to be live. When this passed QC and everybody's like, when's it going to be live? I don't know. I have no control over when it goes live, who takes it, when they actually put it up. And that's just the way it works. So YouTube is the future. It's easy. People just go click. People just want to go click. They don't want to. They gotten to the point where forget about paying for it. That's over.
That's done.
But now they don't even want to enter their email or create an account. That's too much. And so YouTube is click. You hit a play button, and I think that is going to be the future. That's what I'm trying to get ready for. Trying to do my little YouTube channel, and and I'm making it more of an inspirational thing. Like you don't have to be a filmmaker. You can do anything. It's like don't wait. Create. Do it. Don't talk about it. Don't wait, because that's the problem. Too many people, they go, oh well. Oh, I wrote a screenplay. It's in my attic somewhere. And someday when I get some money, I'll shoot my own film. And someday never happens. And I would love a big sound stage. This is my sound stage. It's a little garage. It's 12 by 20. I shot Sustainable Life in Here was a mad scientist hideaway for his half human, half pig creation. It's been in the hit. It was a cabin. It was a college media center. It was a dining room set for one of the characters' houses. And the next one, it's going to be a police station, a judge's chambers. And what I do is being in theater and everything, I just reset it up. And the audience sees it and they go, oh yeah, that looks like that. That looks like a cabin,
Yeah.
And location is half of your problem with insurance and rents and everything else. This way, it's like that takes that money out of it. But my point is like I thought, all right, well I can't. Well, this was what happened. The pandemic happened, and I was in a television show. I finally landed a great part. It was a series, Homicide City or something like that. And the pandemic shut it down. Well, what do I do? So everybody's like, well, I don't know what we're going to do. The business is over. And I sat here in my little one-room place, and I said, well, I don't know. I watch these guys. I said, maybe I'll try to put a film out, see how to do that. And so it's like, well, I don't have actors. Okay, well, I'll get some mannequins, and, it'll be this and that and the other thing. And that's what you did. I wrote for the space and what I had and put it out. And same thing with Ghost of Somerville. It's like, well, okay, I'll just make it like this, and then we'll do this. And then when I did the hit, well, I would love to have, all these locations, but I don't. So you write it to fit what you can do. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
I tell people, it's like, well, maybe you have a small closet. Well, write a horror flick about a small closet. Maybe you don't have any actors. Well, just you're the actor. Narrate to your character.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Of course you can. Right? I mean, you can. Castaway, Tom Hanks. What was the whole movie by himself? It's.
And there's one I watched recently. It was called inside or the inside, it was William Dafoe,
I
and he
just
was like,
saw
"Hey,"
that.
yeah, and it was just him.
But I mean, and that was big budget, obviously.
Hmm.
But that's my point. You see, it's like, I mean, the movie we want to shoot was Roosters. You know, the screenplay we had before the pandemic. But I wasn't when I wrote that. I wasn't thinking I'm going to shoot it. It's too big for me to do right now. It's locations, it's actors, it's money. I can't do it. You know, the hid was too big for me. You know, and I had what 5 or 6, 7. You know, some at least a half a dozen pros, and it's you have to say, okay, what can I get away with? What can I do? And then do it. Don't wait. You know, I'm not going to get a big sound stage, and it's not going to happen.
Hmm.
So this is my fourth feature with this 12 by 20 box, and you know that's it.
Well, I'm gonna ask you a question off of that. So, as we know, streaming services put video stores out of business. They're
Yep.
about to put the box office and movie theaters out of business.
Yep.
Do you think at some point there's going to be, in the near future, there's going to be a replacement for a streaming service?
Um, no, what I think what'll be, like I said, I think YouTube will be the king. They'll be it. I think the streaming services, because of the free content, which is king, they're going to survive. They're going to figure it out, not to wear you out. And that's why I think Tubi is so good at this, because at least they were. I've noticed lately there's a little bit one or two more commercials than it used to be.
Hmm.
It used to be just enough. It's like you didn't annoy your audience. You know, it wasn't watching Channel 4 where you're like, oh my God, there's like 10 minutes of commercials and then, 3 minutes. No.
And we're watching a horror movie. It comes on at the worst point, like when
Yeah.
something about to happen, and then boom,
Well,
commercial.
that's why I design when I put my links in there, my clicks, because you get to do that when you release it. Like I use Film Hub, and I put it so it's right. They want between an 8 and 12 minute spot is what they expect. So you can be anywhere between 8 and 12 minutes each time. So it gives you enough of a range to find that spot so it's not in the middle of a sentence. But I think if you, and plus the other thing that's strange, your content has to be cleaner. See, it used to be they wanted more and more hardcore stuff. Now they don't. Now these free ads, they can't sell their the ads to companies if the movie is too hardcore. So I have cleaned. Yes, I have cleaned up my stuff. I don't even have them curse. Very rarely. There's no smoking. There's no sex. There's no really hardcore language. There's no blood and guts, because I can be across the board, and they will take them. They will take that over something that is they can't have on their free service. Freevee. There's Plex, Tubi, Pluto. Tubi doesn't mind, but I mean the new ones that are coming. Reveal, but Plex and like I said, Freebie or Fubu. There's a ton of them that have free movies. Well, they have to sell ads, so they put it right out there. They'll reject your stuff if there's something that they can't. I mean, you can no longer have an hardcore stuff on these services. So I see this coming. And unless it fits the story, I don't think it needs to be there. And I think that's a problem that a lot of people do with their movies. They just throw it in. Oh, well, let's have this sex scene, or let's have them, do this, or let's have them say this. And if it doesn't mean anything to the story, I don't think it should be there. And that's the future. I mean, like I said, it's so funny, because you remember TV, right? When we used to get it for nothing.
Yes.
And it was censored.
If you watch Friday the 13th or something like that, there was no tits, there was no cursing. Even the kills, they were cut away.
Exactly.
So like it wasn't the actual movie you were seeing.
And then the argument against that, it's like, oh, well, then, I said, well, okay, well, put on Psycho. I mean, Alfred Hitchcock. I mean, there's a way to you can make, great movies.
Even the original Halloween.
Yes, I mean, there's nothing there,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what's even funny about Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yep.
And people think it's like this hard. It's not.
It's not.
Implied. It's all implied,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the trick. Now, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that could play across all those things because there's nothing in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just implied.
Yep.
So this is the interesting part about the industry where it's going. So you have to be cleaner and you have to be shorter in length. They're not gonna, the audience is not gonna watch an hour and a half, 2 hours. Forget it.
Americans' attention span is completely gone now.
No, it's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, when they're it's and they're sitting there on TikTok all day long.
Yep.
If they're not going to do
watch full, they don't. Americans don't even watch full YouTube videos anymore. They watch YouTube Shorts.
Exactly.
Something 50 seconds and they're done.
So that's why I'm saying, and that's why I aim for it. Like this, I said, well, okay, but I aimed for 74 minutes. It turned out to be 76 minutes. So it's a couple minutes longer, but technically, if it was going to be longer, I would have made it should be an episode story. It should be 10 episodes, but I'm not going to go there. But that's the future. So I think people need to get ready for it. I think they should understand it, accept it, reinvent themselves, and just do it. Just go for it. Don't worry about trying to get all these. If you wrote a story like, well, I need 10 actors. Well, change your story.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't need 6 of those people. Maybe there's only 4. That's the trick.
Because I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, so I saw the VHS and the movie theaters. I saw them die hard. And even before COVID, the movie theaters were dying. They were bleeding. And yes, streaming services are great for indie. They're amazing for indie. They're amazing for people who are homebodies who don't want to leave the house. But whereas that alternative for that, which the movie theaters and VHS and DVDs had, that alternative when streaming services decided to clean up?
Well, I think you will always have the outlet. There'll be someone there because there's a market for it. And what it is it'll be a funnel of a bunch of companies, and what we think of today, Netflix, Amazon, and Tubi. In 6 years might be 3 different other big names. Netflix is bleeding because they can't compete with this free stuff.
Yep, Disney Plus is bleeding too.
And then the networks they figure, well, we have to hurry up and do this. So what do? Fox bought Tubi. They just buy somebody who's already running. Mm-hmm. And so it'll be a funnel and a Plex. I mean, there's a lot of companies that people go, huh, what? And I'm like, just watch, it's coming. Mm-hmm. And get it right. There'll be a formula that works. And they'll say, okay, we're less annoying and we can fine tune it, our ads to our audience to make sure that they don't lose interest. We're not going to blast them with this, and we can work out our profit margins and everything works and blah, 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 blah. So it works. Okay, well, there's the blood and guts audience we still need to have. Mm-hmm. Now, I've also been picked up by Play Now Media, which owns all those horror TV, thrill TV, all the ones you see. I've noticed on a Roku or Fire TV.
Okay, yeah.
You search, there's a whole bunch of them. Vintage thrillers, and they own them all. They own like 100 of them. So I think there will be markets. I think it'll be like, here's the general market, and then they'll be like, okay, if you want this stuff, here it is. Mm-hmm. It's the old Blockbuster. It's that little, it's the little corner of like, you can't go there. That's where the real hardcore stuff is.
Yes. I think behind the curtain.
I think because there's a market for it. So as long as someone can make money, it will be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference. The point is these other free streamers, they have a wide audience, so that's why they can't have it, and they're satisfied. They're like, we're doing this across the board. We are the new Channel 4. That's how their mentality is. And then you're going to have, I think, the pockets of little companies that say we're the hardcore stuff. If you want slasher films, there's slasher TV. There is one, you know, and it's like that's all there is, and that's their market, and they know it, and boom. Mm-hmm. And I think that's how it'll be.
Some pretty violent horror movies on Tubi, and then boom, a Pampers commercial will come on, or a family Toyota commercial come on. I'm like, this is fucking awkward.
I don't get that. But yeah, they'll figure it out. And I think it'll change. I think you will. It's again. I think people need to be prepared for change. Always be prepared to reinvent. And I think that's it. That's like I said with the strike again. It fueled it harder and faster. And I said, you know what? The writers are the ones that are going to win, because they're all. AI is going to take all of the jobs away. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Until it could really do what a brain can come up with for a story, I think the writers are in the driver's seat here. I think that they can take a laptop. They'll be able to take a laptop, take their story, and have their laptop, instead of hire it out to Universal Pictures, they'll be their own company and say, well, take my brain and put a story out, make a movie. Yeah, it'll be AI, but the story will be good because they're good writers.
Exactly.
So I think the writers are going to survive, and I know that people they look at me like, well, I don't know about that. I think so. I think the writers are going to be the one who are going to win, until, of course, the robot takes over the ideas and has that down. But I think they will. I think the writers have a little bit more longevity. I think, unfortunately, once you can. I mean, even in editing now, I mean, you can take a dark scene or light scene and make it look like it was shot at night. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the tech is going to go away.
Yeah.
But there's nothing we can do about that. You know, that's like the photomats of the yesteryear screaming about this crazy digital camera that's gonna. You can't stop it. So what I'm saying is, okay, find a way to reinvent yourself. You know, it's like. To the writers, maybe you don't need that movie company. Maybe you're the movie company. Think like that.
Exactly.
You know, take it on. You know, it's just like, take it on. And say, well, this is my industry's changing, but you know what? I'm going to be the industry. And I think if they take that attitude, and anybody should take that attitude. Well, I can't make this movie, let's say. Well, yeah, you can. Make the movie you can make right now. That's what I always say in all my videos. You know, don't sit around and wait for the movie you want to make that you wish you could make. Make the one you can make right now.
Right now, with your budget.
Yeah, and you're off and running. You know, like the HID cost me $5,400. I did all the tallies. Oh. Yeah, the other night I did all the tallies. I mean, that's including another C100. So you know that for $1,200 or something. So that's including another camera. I have two of them. So with all the SD cards and the food and what I paid the actors, it's roughly around 54 and change. You know, and that's a lot of money for me.
Low budget. That's a low budget.
Low budget, but a lot of money for me. but and it's like, it's okay. So, but my point is, so what did I do? I said, well, I know what I can do. If I make the character, like I said, the opening scene is shot like a film. Mm-hmm. But the characters that go to do the investigation, well, they're college co-eds. They're going to go investigate this story. So let's see, what would they do? They would go to their media center. They would pull out some C100s and they would set them up on tripods and they would hang some microphones down and they would shoot their documentary. Okay, I told the audience that. The audience now accepts that. Mm-hmm. They don't care that it looks like, hey, it looks like they were shot on C100s and there's some mics hanging down. Yeah, that's what they did. Oh, okay, I get it now. You know, and then when like Marla, my main character, when she picks up the little Sony 5100 and she talks to it, I use that audio. I use that camera because she's holding that camera. So the audience sees her doing this. So they're okay. Oh, okay. So it's supposed to look like shit. You know,
it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like my first movie when I did it years ago. I was just screwing around. I had a little teeny camcorder and I was like, well, I can't compete with these cameras. I know. I'll make it look like a silent film, black and white, all like this. and we would play in front of it. You know, it was a musician thing. It was more like an art thing. We played around New York City, but it was so funny because, you know, it looked like a Charlie Chaplin movie. And we would shoot it on the screen and play. And I remember, I swear this happened. We were playing in Alphabet City, and the NYU film students were there, and he came up to me and he's like, "How did you get it to look like that? What filter is that?" And I was like, "Dude, it's Movie Maker, man." You know, it's like, because that's what you do. It's like you don't try to be something you can't be, because then everybody sees it. That's why I love black and white, because I think a lot of these low budget films are so sharp. They're in color and they're so sharp. It looks so fake to me. It looks like a camcorder, and they got, you know, these unbelievable camera. Oh, look at my whatever, this and that and the other thing. Yeah, but I know that's dried fake blood on her cheek. Yep. You know, like when you take an old cat, like a C100 or something, or an old camera, a T3i. This I'm using the ADD to talk to you. You put some old glass on it, man, it looks like film. You know, it's like, you guys are watching too many YouTube videos. You know, it's like, you know, it's like, relax, man. There's a reason why it looks that way. It's too sharp, man. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, so then you got to do all this color grading and lights to try to get it to look like I can get out of a T3i, you know, that costs $200. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. It's like, you know, it's like, don't stress about it, man. Just do it. Take what you have. Like, I see it all the time. You see these groups, oh, I want to make a movie. What camera do you think I should get? Like, oh, stop. What camera do you have in your closet? You know what I mean?
Unimportant. Like, I use an inexpensive webcam, right?
Yep.
I think most people who are watching my show don't give a fuck what kind of camera I use. I think they care about what they're actually fucking watching and they're hearing. So I don't think it's important.
It's content. It's content. That's it. It's story.
I mean, I've got the greatest camera here, but to be a fucking complete bore on here, and like, which one is better, you know? So
no. So that's what I always, and I hope it does work. Like, I'm gonna do this new documentary on. I want to show people, because I came from the music world. You know what happened in the music business, how this happened, acting, and then the COVID shut me down. And I think when I turned 50, I became a father for the first time. And then in my 50s, I've had more success than I've done my whole life. Because you know why? I just said, screw it, I'm going to do it. Maybe I should call it that. I'm going to screw it, just do it. But I mean, it was just like, that's what I did. It was just like, well, okay, let me put this book out. All right, well, and my father says, hey, let's take that and turn it into a screenplay. Oh, okay. And he sends it, and we win first place at Cannes. You know, it's just like, and then would you be in this Discovery ID show? I'm like, what? And I did this audition, and they wanted me to do a South Carolina accent, and I'm like, well, I can't do that. I can't do it. So I just said it straight, and then they called me up. They said, well, you didn't get that part, but we'll give you a better one. And the next thing I know, I did 22 television shows. You know, I'm like, oh, look at that. I don't think I'll make a musical on it. And there it is in New York City. I'm like, you just do it. It doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. Then the COVID shut me down. I put a movie out. I just did it. You just do it. Is it great? No. I'm not a cinematographer. I'm not a cinematographer. What I strive to be is a good storyteller.
That's the same thing with me. Like, I'm not, listen, this is not going to be the greatest, most clearest YouTube channel you've ever seen. I decided one day to just do it. People ask me, I just decided to do it. I went to a pawn shop, got a MacBook Pro at a pawn shop, went on eBay, got a used fucking microphone and a camera, and just did it.
And that's how you do it. Yeah, I think, you know, it's always been my whole life where we said, you know, 50% of the job is showing up. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, you just got to do it. It's like,
I feel like money stops a lot, or the thought of I need money stops a lot of people from doing it. No.
Yeah.
Fucking do it. Just whatever you got, just do it with
Well, it's just like when this company they gave me this list, the distributor, and it was a big time thing. And they're like, and they gave me this list. And I'm laughing at myself. I'm thinking, oh, it has to be, you know, use a camera like a Red, blah, blah, blah. It's got to be this format, blah, blah, blah. It's got to look like, you know, global ready for Netflix, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, Skinamarink. I'm like, I felt like telling them Skinamarink, that movie, you know, it's just like from Canada. it's an hour and a half of children's feet underneath the
Yes.
couch in the dark.
I actually interviewed the mother from that movie. Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And it's like, my point is, it's like, you might not get it, you might not like it, but it's out there.
And
Did
people
it. Yep.
Everybody's watched it.
That's it. I'm not saying you have to like it. Might not my taste, but I sure as heck would go log into IMDb and write a scathing review and say it sucks. I don't understand why people do that.
I don't know why people do that either. I don't know why people comment and say your thing sucks. Like, just don't fucking support it.
Exactly. Just
just shut the fuck up and just don't support it. Just
log in. I mean, I found that out when I first put a book out, and I'm not a writer, but I mean, it's a good story. Won first place. But anyway, and I got this scathing review from it was some lady in Amazon, and it really broke my heart. It was like, this is like the first time that you're attacking me, and it was basically like I was like the worst thing ever, and I should just like climb to the highest mountain and jump, and it was like, really, what have you ever done? I've always say that to people when they ask, when they criticize, it's like, well, where's yours?
But do you know what's even worse? Like, when I first got on my show, a bigger name YouTuber actually jumped on my thing and commented, "You need to get off of YouTube and leave this to professionals."
Are you serious?
I'm being dead serious. And I was like, wow, that's fucked up. Like, you are somebody who's been doing this for years. Aren't you supposed to be giving a new YouTuber tips and, this is how you do this? And I was like, wow, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that's the world we live in. Now I'm a little bit, I'm okay with it. I expect, like, when I put this on up, I was like, I said, look, now, hey, if you're my friend or you like it, could you throw a star in there? Because you know why? You have to help the ones that are gonna one star, because they're out there. It's what they do.
They're out there. That's all they do is troll all day long.
But it doesn't hurt me anymore. It doesn't now. It's like, okay.
You want to be thick-skinned to be in the entertainment industry. You want to be YouTube, making movies, writing books. You gotta have a thick fucking skin because it's a lot of trolls.
Oh, I tell you what I did do once. It was I think one of the ghosts. Somebody gave a horrific review, but they attacked my actors, how they looked, and I'm thinking, I was telling my sister, and she's like, well, they're not going to do anything. I said, well, I'm going to try. So I contacted IMDb, and I said, it's one thing not, to be critical. I said, but this person's attacking someone's appearance, and I think that's wrong. And I happened to check out their page, and they haven't done just me. They did it to several others. And You know what? They took it down.
Wow.
So I was like, you see, you got to ask, because sometimes I just didn't. I thought that was like, you could tell me I suck, but now you're telling they were commenting on the way someone looked, and I was like, what? Then he was like, oh, you pretended that you interviewed someone, you sat in the same room, but it was all fake. I'm thinking, no, that's how I shot it, dude. I was sitting right here, and I got a T3I and an ADD when I did that. I think, give me a break.
See, more services should be like YouTube. So YouTube now has a policy: if you make a nasty comment on a creator's thing, it doesn't go up. It goes under hold. So at that point, the creator gets notified if they want to allow it to be. And I don't listen. I'll let, if you critique my channel, hey, it can go up, whatever. But when it's just nasty stuff, it's not going to go up. It's never going to go up.
I've seen that option. It says hold for inappropriate.
Yeah, it's never going to go up. No one's ever going to see that.
Yeah, but I mean, you must be doing well with this, right?
I'm doing great with it. 6 months in. I'm doing 6 months in, and I'm rocking and rolling, man.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you just decided, I'm just going to do it.
It's like, fuck it. But listen, I was pondering over it for 2 to 3 years, and then 6 months ago, I was like, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
I went and got the LLC and everything, man. Made it legit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
We'll see that, and then you're happy you did.
Yeah, I'm loving it, man. Loving it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Speaking of something else I love, you hit on it, but I love it's only 2 episodes up right now, but I love the Ghost of Somerville.
I know. It goes to Somerville.
To be.
it is on Tubi. It's on Tubi Plex. Who else? I mean, it's on so many things. I mean, that's what I'm saying. When you see, you only realize how many stations are actually out there. But love Tubi. And no, Ghost of Somerville it's a lot of fun. I'm going to do more. I was going to do another one. I was going to do something. It still might happen. So I don't want to talk about it yet. But it's I want to do a fire. There's a firehouse here, and I thought it was a very interesting story. But yes, the Ghost of Somerville. I decided to, because of being on Discovery ID and doing all those shows. I said, hey, I see how this is done. They interview a story, then they do some reenactments, and I figured I can do that. It's easy, and the audience is forgiving. It doesn't have to be, cinematic Hollywood, and they love it. And paranormal is big. I've had great experiences so far. The people that have been in it have been absolutely fabulous. The actors, I use all the same actors. You'll notice all the actors in my movies; they're all the same. And because I feel like I like a nice tight niche that I can trust, and that's who I stick with. And it's just like, hey, guess what? You want to play a sheriff this time? And but it gets a lot of views. The Ghost of Somerville, I did the first one last year, 2 years ago, 21? No, 22. The Old Dutch was 22, Halloween in 22, and the other one was the year before, 21.
That's Miss Mix.
That's Miss Mix, yes. Truth is, and that was a really, that was my cousin. That's
really?
Yes. And I knew this growing up, but it just didn't really, didn't really hit me until we had a discussion. I'm like, do you want to be my test subject for this series? I want to do this series. Oh yeah, okay. And so that's how that started. And you know what? It's been viewed over 33,000 times.
Wow.
So, which is a lot for somebody like me.
Yeah.
And it's like, when that happened, I was like, wow. And then I would see the difference from Sustainable Life, my first, sci-fi black and white. This would be like, oh, this is like nothing, Yeah. I mean, and the money that comes in, people don't understand. It's not money, but I mean, it's like Sustainable Life, I'll make like a $4 or $12 that month. It's that kind of money. And like Mrs. Mix might pull in $60. I think the most I've made from Mrs. Mix was $400 in a month, in 1 month.
Okay.
So it's not like, livable money. But I mean, what I'm hoping is that if the series will pull each other. And then it's like, oh, what else has he done? Boom, 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 boom. And then it's like, let me see what the head looks like. And then I'm hoping if you have enough content that, and they're all pulling a couple $100 each. And now we're talking about
income coming in, yeah.
But I mean, I think you have to think like that. I think these people who think like, oh, well, where's my check? Well, those days are gone, in this level. I mean, if you're in a different level, God bless you. But if you're independent with no money and no equipment and no experience, this is what you can expect. It can be done, is what I'm proving. And that's all you did. It's just like what you're doing. It's like, you don't expect to be, Mr. Beast.
Anytime soon.
My son always makes fun of me. He's like, well, Dad, no one's going to watch your ridiculous YouTube channel. You're just talking about cameras and movies. You got to talk about games.
No. but there's people out there for every niche.
Yeah.
That are watch.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Look, I'm not trying to be a YouTuber. I'm trying. You're like you. It's like this is the content you're after. And you hope that it becomes successful enough to be something.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, it's not gonna be, whatever. I'm not gonna be that. I'm not gonna be Tarantino. Okay. So, but it's like, and they think, oh, Reservoir Dogs was low budget. Yes, but we still had Harvey Keitel. I think. Yeah. So it's like, but that's the plan. The plan is to keep going, good content quickly. I got 2 more, 3 more on the dock. And see, my point is like people would take 1 year to put out, or 4 years to put out one movie. My objective is 4 movies a year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Pumping them.
And the Ghosts of Somerville I can do. I can do them rather quickly.
Now, I have a question. I don't know if it's a question you can answer or not, but when the Ghosts of Somerville, have you ever, I'm pretty sure a lot of people come to you and say, oh, my house is haunted or whatever. What percentage of people that come up to you do you like, this person is full of it, or this person, there's no substance there for me to do a show on, or?
I haven't had anybody that I didn't believe.
Okay.
That what they're saying is what they believe. Put it that way.
Okay.
Yes. The problem is if it has to have enough content to fill the time. Now, so what I decided for the next one possibly is to maybe have 2 or 3 smaller stories so it can be the feature length. That's something I haven't done yet, but I've decided that maybe that might be the way, being that episode type of mentality we talked about, that might work as well. Instead of waiting, because when you can't release episodes, you have to release them all at once. So that means I would have to have a 10 episode thing and then release the whole thing. I can't wait that long. So maybe what I'll do is like, maybe if they can't fill an hour or 45 minutes, or if it's not enough of a meaty story, but still a neat, really story about something that happened one night. Maybe if I had a couple of those and put them like 2 or 3 into the feature. So it's like, it's a feature of several stories, like the old days when they used to do the Twilight Zone movies, or Night Gallery, that kind of stuff, where there would be several, like, the old Karen Black stuff, with the little doll and stuff, they would be like, 3 or 4 spooky stories.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, so I might entertain that because I do have them. So that's why, but the reason I held off is because, like, I don't know if I can fill the time, but I was like, well, maybe I'll put the 2 together. So that might be something I'll do because, like I said, Somerville is, I'm sure I am not unique in this world. There's a lot of haunts in a lot of towns. And it is something to, I think people should also, if they're looking to get into this, I mean, it's a good subject to jump into and easy to do. If you can talk to somebody that has a story, hey, well, would you sit in front of a camera and tell that story? And let them tell the story and then say, well, I have the story. Like when I did the last one with the Old Dutch, Jim came and I had the interview. Okay, well, what part of the interview should I recreate and can I recreate? And that's how you do it. And then you would find the people to do it. And a lot of the actors, they don't have to be pros. They don't have to have lines.
It's so quick. It's so,
yeah, because you're using your interviewer as the narrator, just like the Discovery ID stuff I've done. That's why I was like, this is how you do it. They're telling the story, and then you have the actors, walk across. You set the scene up. So
they're just lip talking.
So it's like, I was like, that's why this can be done. And like I said, the audience loves this stuff. So any kind of documentary stuff like that, it's easy to sell.
One last question. Have you had a story presented to you that you're like, this is too creepy, this is too much, this is something I don't want to do?
I don't like to do, I'll tell you what I don't like to do. It was part of a story that was too recent of a tragedy.
Okay.
I like to stick with something that is away. Like it was something that I think would touch a nerve. If people are still alive that are tied to it, and it was a tragedy, I'll stay away from it.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's right to for respect of their feelings. And even when I do the like in the Hidden, all the deaths that happened to the Shire family, they're all real. They real happened to people, but they're far away. and I don't like the touch of anything that's too tragic, you know, because even if it's made up or it's based on something, you know, that gives me the creeps a little bit. Like, I don't know, I just feel like it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So that's why the ghosts are good, because they're usually
50 years or back.
Yeah. So, but if it was something that was recent and it's like, the reason I'm hesitating, because the one I wanted to do, one of the stories that were a part of it that would have been great is something that happened in my lifetime, and it happened with kids, and I was like, you know, I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, I want to stay away from that. I like to entertain people. I don't want to remind them of tragedies.
Yeah.
And that's why when I do things, try to keep them bizarre-ish, because it's like too many people, there's too many things that happen. People get killed in car accidents, so I don't want to have a car accident in my film. You know, because it's like, it reminds people, oh, yeah, see, here they're going to my film to escape, and they just reminded what happened.
Yeah.
So I like to keep things that are like, what, they did the what? How did that happen? Oh, you know, it's entertaining. You know, it's just like, you know, now like in the Hid, the boys, like the one kid fell in a brine tank. Okay, well, that's a farm accident, you know, or one was hit his head on a bumper of a car. You know, one was in, you know, it's like things that really happen, but it's like, it's not something that it happens every day.
Yeah.
I just don't like, you know, even though the one son, you know, he hangs himself, which I really wavered over that, because it's like, I don't like to portray anything like that is not real, based on a real story, because I don't like suicide or things like that. The murders, you know, can happen, but it can't be a tragedy, you know, that someone could say, oh, I'm reliving it. It's got to be bizarre enough that it's like no one's going to think about it. Like I said, my main goal is to entertain you, not to freak you out. I don't need to, you know.
Yeah.
I don't need to shock you.
Yeah.
There's enough horror in the world. You know what I mean? It's like,
it really is.
It really is. I mean, really. So it's like my things. I hope that people look at it as a little escape. You know, like The Hid is a great paranormal ghost story, campfire ghost story that was told like it's told like shot like in a play, like it was Dark Shadows or Masterpiece Theater. If you like that kind of stuff, you'll like it. If you're looking for Friday the 13th, you'll give me a 1 star.
Now, would you ever do a slasher movie?
Maybe as a spoof.
Okay.
Well, no, I tell you what, I would. I just would. I would be Hitchcocky. I'd be off camera. I'd be implied.
Okay.
I mean, one of the people in this movie was they put her in an ice machine and ground up her legs. I mean, that's what happened to one of the characters. That was the story's about. So that's a pretty gruesome thing. And I thought about doing it. How would I do that? And then I realized I'm not going to do it. And it's just creepy enough. I mean, when we describe the creature or whatever this hit is, that ghost or whatever comes back, there you don't see any monster. It's described to you. It's described to you by one of the characters, Sarah Jane Pickett's, and it's so creepy because I put that image in your brain, and your brain's much more powerful than what I can put on screen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you hear it, you hear the description of what it looked like. You know, squeaking around with wooden legs and a big boxy head, you know. But if I were to do that, you'd laugh. You know, if I were to, you know, because I thought about having a silhouette, you know, of this 7-foot creature. But I'm like, it would become a hokey thing. And that's what I don't want to do. But it's told, you know, you told what it looks like, you told what it sounds like, right? And then you leave the theater, my theater, and you go home and you put your head in the pillow at night and you close your eyes and your brain will start saying, now what's that son of a bitch look like? You know, and I make fun of myself in the movie all the time and some of the lines, you know, like I have Jake say, you know, what am I supposed to be afraid of? Am I going to get splinters? Am I going to get afraid of? So this is a 7-foot wooden doll. Is this supposed to be scary? You know, it's like, it's funny, it's like I make a fun of myself all the time. So I do that in the movie. I throw little digs at me. But what I think is creepy is how it ends, of course. And it's enough implied things that you're like, you will go home and you'll drive home at night if you saw it in the theater with a light on, because it's enough to tell your brain, ooh, what does this look like?
That look like he started putting what's going on. And I agree. I've seen a lot of movies that the whole entire movie, you're like, you don't see the monster and you're like, what does it look like? And then something goofy and stupid comes out and you're like, oh, fuck.
I know. I mean, can you watch another demon? I mean, every time that, and I say to myself, yeah, how much money did you cost to make that shot? The makeup, the creepy eyes, the demonic voice, and they're clicking their head around. That's been done for 30 years. I mean, we're talking about The Exorcist here, okay? 74. So it's like, come on. How scary can it be? It can't be anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe you like that kind of stuff, but it's just gotten to the point where, The Nun 2, it doesn't scare me. It's like, I'm sorry, but I mean, the whole demonic, spooky out, the eyes, the demonic voice is not scary anymore.
But I love the movie The Smile up until that last 10 minutes when you saw the monster. Like, once you saw the monster, it was like,
it's over. You didn't.
Ridiculous looking thing.
That's a mistake. If they never showed the monster,
never should show the monster.
It'd be a scarier flick.
Yes, it was a scary flick up to that point.
Right. What was, all of them. I mean, the Paranormal Activity. What made it so frightening? You didn't see anything.
Yep. And then once you saw, I forgot one of them, they showed what Toby was.
Yeah.
Oh crap, that's Toby.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'm like. But see again. There's a big audience out there that wants the monster.
Yes.
So that's fine. So then go find someone who gives you the monster. I just can't do that. I just can't. I try to.
But you can. Well, you can, but it'll look goofy. Yeah.
It will look goofy. I mean, and then money would cost to make it not look goofy. Because you figure those shots, you got to pay for a makeup artist. You got to do it right so it doesn't look ridiculous. You got to take all day to do it. That's a big check.
Yeah.
I've been on these sets, and I know what it takes. I mean, when I would do these shows, I mean, you're talking 25 guys. I'm staring at, $175,000 setup, with a Fujinon glass and Ari and producers and makeup artists. And, that's a big, those shows that you do on Discovery ID, believe it or not, one episode is $350,000.
Wow.
Okay. So that's what it costs. And my whole movie cost $5,000. I think my first movie cost me $600. Same with life.
No budget. That's
no budget. I just pay my actors. I pay my actors. I feed them and I pay them. But I feel that anybody that does a job should get paid. I mean, it doesn't have to be, ridiculous. But if you expect somebody to come out and do something for you, and if they're my friends, that's one thing, because a lot of that stuff is my friends, then it's like I get a bottle of wine or something. But I mean, if they're working actors, I don't expect anybody to show up on my set for nothing.
I don't blame you.
That's just the way I feel,
They do their best for nothing too.
Yeah. And I've been there, and I mean, believe it or not, they pay you nothing to do these television shows. Wow. You'd be shocked. You'd be shocked. I mean, they'll pay me. I mean, when I got to the higher level acting, yeah, okay, maybe $287 for a day, 16 hours. But I mean, if I were doing a half a day or not big of a scene, they say, oh, it's $55. What? I got to drive to work, Oh, you don't want to do it? We'll get somebody else. That's the attitude. It's minimum wage. It's minimum wage.
And somebody else will take it.
Yeah, and it's like, okay. And that's why I stopped doing it when the COVID broke and they started calling me again. I'm like, you know what? I've been on television 22 times. I don't care anymore. It's like, I don't need to be that guy on Discovery anymore. I did the one last summer because I figured I'd keep my resume going. And it worked out because I wrote the hit and I was sitting there. So maybe I'll have to, next summer I'll have to do another one to see what else I can write.
Yes.
But that's it. I mean, that's all. I do what I can. Pay your actors. Think small, write small, and just Put it out there. You can do it. It's easy. It's easier. Put it this way: it's easier than you think.
The key is just do it.
Just do it.
I mean,
Do it.
we're
Don't
still
think
his
it.
logo. Yes, we're still like his logo. I mean, but that's model. But it really is. Just do it.
It really is. And we're both sitting here talking about it. You're
Yep.
doing it. I'm doing it.
Boom.
Boom.
Right.
Is anything going to happen? I don't know. But
I don't know.
I tell you what, I guaranteed nothing will happen if you don't try.
Brian, listen. One day we might see your box-headed monster.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Brian, where can everyone find you?
What's that?
Where can everyone find you?
Oh, refusetowalktheline.com. Refuse to walk the line. That's what I do. I don't walk the line. I refuse to walk the line. That's the website. That's the YouTube channel. Refuse to walk the line. And you can find me on IMDb. You can put my name in the name in the comments. But IMDb takes you everywhere. The movies, they're on Amazon, Tubi. The Hid's not on Tubi yet. The Hid is
Amazon and you said Reveal.
Reveal. I don't know anything about it, but
I don't know about it either.
But that is Reveal. It's free with no ads.
So,
I don't know how that works, but it's running right now. I checked this. It came over this morning. I'm like, oh, look at this.
Brian's not getting paid on that one.
I'm not making 2 cents. But what are you going to do? That's just the way it is. But so that's for that movie. All the other ones are everywhere. They're Plex. Anything you can find, they're there. And like I said, IMDb, Brian Vadum, or Refuse to Walk the Line on the website. Refuse to Walk the Line YouTube channel, and like and subscribe because I need it. And to try to get monetization someday.
Yeah. I'm working there too. I'm working on that too.
And then because that's the future, and so I hope to get there, and that's it. But this is how you get there.
This is how it's networking.
You do it, you talk about it.
Exactly. You got to put it out in energy, man.
That's it. See what happens.
Brian, it's been an absolute pleasure, my friend.
My pleasure too. Let's do it again. Let's keep doing it.
We're definitely gonna keep doing it. Anytime you got anything new, man, just hit me up. Come back on and do this.
That sounds great, man.
Listen, everybody, check out Brian. Check out The Ghost of Somersville. I love it. I love it.
Of the Ghost.
Check it out on Tubi. That's where I watched it at. So
yeah,
do
Tubi.
Let's do Tubi, and check out also The Hid.
The Hid is on Amazon.
It's on Amazon and something called Reveal.
Reveal.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be on Tubi, but like I said, it just came out Thursday. Okay. So it takes Tubi usually at least a month to 2 months before it ends up on their platform.
Well, watch it on Reveal first, and then once it's on Tubi, watch it on Tubi so Brian can actually get on it.
Yeah, Amazon, you have to rent it for $2 or something. So if you want to see it for free, it's on Reveal. Or it's been pirated. I found out it was pirated this morning. Yeah, which is actually, it's good news because it makes me, I guess I'm worth something. But they pirate, so it's on. Don't do that because they're. The point is they rip this off. Someone must have bought it and they rip it off and then they stream it. A lot of people are watching because I have my nephew who's into techie stuff. He can go in and find out, how many people are viewing it and downloading it. And they're ripping it off all over the place, from here to all over the world. And they download and they stream it for nothing. Of course, it's they're horrific websites, and they have malware on it and stuff. So I would not suggest you do that. You can watch it for free on Reveal, which is a real place, or pay the $2 on Amazon. But yeah,
yes,
that's it. And it should do well, I think.
Listen, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to download Reveal.
Reveal. Yep.
The first time hearing about it, and it's free.
Yeah, it's REVEEL. Reveal.
Got it.
And you'll see it there.
It's a pleasure, my friend, and everybody. Thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Thanks, buddy.